I was having a conversation to a gentleman who runs a concreting business. He has 4 people working with him and he does all sorts of concreting work, and he said that I'll take on anything as long as I make a profit. When I started the conversation with him, we were somewhere where he'd been talking to somebody else about buying a property that will cost him $850,000, and that was going to be an investment. So he could afford an $850,000 property. And he also said, I started out west buying properties initially, and that's where I grew my portfolio. He also owned a laundromat. He had a laundromat, he said, because he kept getting constant payments from people who were washing clothes, and that was an additional part of his cash flow. So he has 4 people working for him. He lays concrete, and clearly at the age of about 42 to 45, he's a multi-millionaire. Made a lot of money by taking what he earns and investing in a property. So I had one question for him, and I always think this is an interesting question to ask a person who's wealthy. I asked him, when was the last time he brought a cup of coffee? And the answer and the reaction was precisely what I was expecting, and it was almost hilarious. He said, 2 weeks ago, I brought 2 cups of coffee and they cost me $10. And for 5 minutes, he went on and on about how much coffee costs and how much would it cost him if he brought coffee every day. And then this multi-millionaire told me, every day he makes his own lunch, every day he takes a thermos to work. I agree with him. In our company, Your Business Angels, we've processed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of bank statements from tradies and small businesses. And I can tell you that the average tradie in Australia spends a house deposit every 3 years on takeaway. Now, when we first started to measure this a few years ago in our company, I used to say the average tradie spent a house deposit every 5 years on takeaway. It's down to 3 now. The takeaway and the amount of money that just pours out of the business for all these sorts of things which are not tax deductible is enormous. Now, when I say a house deposit, I'm not talking about that $1 million house you want to buy in the suburb you love. I'm talking about a house deposit where it might be a smaller city in Australia, it might be a coastal town somewhere in Queensland that's not one of the major ones, where you're going to put tenants in and get a return. But you can buy an investment property that builds up and builds up and builds up, and then another 3 years you could buy another property and so on. I was going to, and I've done it in other videos for this one, come along and show you how to make a sandwich. I'm going to assume you know how to make a sandwich. I'm going to assume that you know how to make a coffee at home. And I'm also going to assume you've got enough loose change in your pocket now to go and buy yourself a plastic lunchbox. And you've got enough money to go and buy you a thermos. Because if you want to build a property portfolio, if you want to build wealth, and you're a small business person looking at this video right now, the journey of your property investment starts with a lunchbox and a thermos.
If you would like to work with Gavin and the team at Your Business Angels, contact us on 1300 982 559 or through our website www.yourbusinessangels.com.au.